All right, moving on to the back of the thigh, or the hamstrings. Now, remember, our limbs are three-dimensional, and so we have to address not only the hamstrings, but also a hamstring adductor junction and the hamstring quad IT band junction. And the quad, actually, the vastus lateralis actually starts quite a bit further back than most of us think. So that will just influence how we move when we're doing our rolling. We can do rolling on the ground, especially if you're more flexible, you can handle this. And we can use any of our devices. We can use the Viper, we can use a trigger point roller. I have an Intella roller here, which is nice because of the contour. It actually addresses the three-dimensional shape of the thigh quite nicely. And I'll show you in a minute, if you have a chair or something you can use, how we can actually get in here a little bit more. But once again, you're gonna work all the way toward the adductor as far as you can. And then when you find some spots, if you're on the floor, you're a little bit limited because you can't really flex and extend the knee very much. And the hamstrings, they flex the knee. So we wanna really be able to flex and extend the knee while we're doing this. So if we use a chair, it allows us to get in there a little bit better. And I like the spherical devices for this. This is the Hypersphere by Hyperice. And you just hold the button on these to turn them on and you get a nice percussion effect. But here you can see, not only is it more specific, but I'm able to find a spot and then start to move my structure so that the tissue glides, and hopefully we're getting a little bit of tissue release. But most importantly, you're getting blood flow in there. You're assessing where your problems are. So when we get into our corrective stuff, you know where to go. You can also just use a softball or a lacrosse ball, or this is actually an over the line ball. Lacrosse ball you could use, but it's probably not quite tall enough. It doesn't have the diameter so that you can get into especially if you have meatier thighs. So again, you just sit, you find your spots, and then you work through the tissue range of motion. The only thing you really want to be aware of is if you're feeling anything nervy, if you're feeling any zing down the chain. Don't create too much tension there. Just go easy on it and don't straighten the leg to the point where you're feeling that nerve tension. You can also use the Hypervolts on the hamstring, whatever feels the best for you. All right, go ahead and give that a shot.